He alighted, shoved me out of the bus. He slapped me on my left hand side, eye and slightly on the cheek.
For some time now, cases of assault in public service vehicles have been on the rise. On this episode of Youth MTAANI, I speak to a lady who has been a victim of assault in a matatu. 1 year down the line, she is yet to find justice, but she swears that the fight still continues.
My name is Wairimu Muthoni Wachira. I was assaulted on 7th August 2018. I boarded a matatu headed to Westland, that is Super Metro. In the morning, it was about 9:25 when I boarded the bus. I noted that the bus was headed to Juja Road instead of Westland. So I requested the conductor to alight me at Fig Tree. Then he asked me for money. I gave him 1,000 bob. After that, he told me he doesn't have change. I told him I won't alight without my money. So when they stopped me at Fig Tree, I refused to alight. And then that's when the commotion started. He refused to give me the change. The driver noted that we are having a commotion, but he still went on driving the bus. Then he stopped. He pulled over at Aura Road. It's a feeder road on the Super Highway. He alighted, shoved me out of the bus. He slapped me on my left hand side, eye and slightly on the cheek. I felt dizzy. Then they threw off my things. I had a bag that I had opened. So when this boda guy came, he found me crying, wiping off my stuff with the wipes I had. My phone was cracked, so I couldn't even take a picture of the bus, and the bus sped off. But I could see, I tried to capture, but I could only capture KCH, T. I couldn't capture the rest because my head wasn't okay at that moment. So I asked the boda guy to take me to DCI Kiambu Road, because that's the only place I know you can report such an incident. I didn't know what police station was the nearest for me. So he took me to DCI. There was an officer at the gate. He saw me crying, he saw me bleeding, he saw my swollen eye, so I wasn't even searched. He just asked me what was the issue. Told him I've been assaulted in a bus at Aura Okod Apo Super Highway. I was assigned an officer, as the IO investigating officer. The officer told me to go to MSF to fill my P3 form. I met a doctor, Dr. Ian. He took my details, personal details, and filled some details on a sheet of paper. And then he told me for the stamp, I come the next day because the doctor who has it is not in the hospital. He'll come tomorrow. So I took that chance to go to now Metro offices and report the incident. The lady there told me to look for Muturi. I think it's the shift supervisor. I don't know who he is. I told him my money has been stolen in their bus. I was also assaulted in their bus. He told me he doesn't know what bus that is, but if it was going to Juja Road, he'll go to the fleet management list and find out what the bus is. But he particularly told me Metro official drivers can't do that. It must have been a squad crew. He gave me a fleet list of 99 vehicles, minibuses, and we ticked off with him because I could tell him the only thing I can remember is a KCH, T at the end, and I remember the face of the assaulter. So we ticked with him. It was about 11, we ticked until 2. He told me his shift is over. We went for lunch. He bought me lunch. Then he told me that he's going home until the next day. When I was left alone, I could figure out that the KCH minibuses with a T at the end are 3. And by the time that Muturi left, 2 came, but 1 didn't show. Muturi guy called me. He made a phone call at night. He told me he's confirming he knows the car, but ideally the car was supposed to be off the road. It's a squad crew that stole the car, and yeah, and ferried passengers. I go back to MSF now, since you remember I don't have my P3 stamped by the official government stamp. I meet some lady, Angela, reception. I tell her I'm here looking for Dr. Ian. He treated me yesterday and I'm here so that my P3 can be stamped. She tells me there is no such a doctor. So she shows me records of all the patients that were treated that day, and mine are not there. So it took 11 days for those people to stamp for me. I do calls the metro people to bring the bus. They say the bus is not available. They bring 7 crew members brought forth so that I could identify who assaulted me. None of them was there. Of course, they know who assaulted me, but they couldn't bring. I had some contact at the Ministry of Transport. That is the lady who helped me get the owner of the car. He called someone at Major's office. So I called the owner of the car and also called this Muturi and told them to let us sit down at MTAANI police station for maybe a negotiation so that we end this matter. We start talking and the owner says that the car was off the road. And then I told them, I'm not buying that story. That car, Muturi ye mwenyewe alikuwa amesema that was the car that assaulted me na amejua hiyo ndo gari. Then you start coming telling me that the car was off the road. I just told the OCS, this thing has to go to court now. My request is this: DCI's office, DPP's office, NTSA's office, MTAANI office, DCIO MTAANI Starehe office. There are officers there that are supposed to be handling this case. Justice for me is justice for those people who died, like the Kileleton lady, who never got a chance like me to speak out and say why she was murdered. Because if you keep doing that, the cases will keep on cropping up.